Welcome to our peaceful journey into the dark, deep ocean. Close your eyes and let your daily heavy worries fade. Breathe very slowly as we prepare for a downward voyage. The surface water remains calm under the pale silver moon. We will travel far below these gentle, quiet rolling waves. Your mind can drift easily alongside our slow, steady descent. Leave the busy world behind on the distant dry land. The ocean offers a silent sanctuary for your tired mind. Listen to the rhythmic breathing of the vast open sea. Tonight we explore a hidden realm of absolute pure mystery. We slowly sink beneath the shimmering surface of the water. The bright moonlight quickly fades into a soft blue glow. Small silver fish dart past our gentle observation glass window. Gravity pulls us gently toward the mysterious unseen bottom floor. The water temperature drops slightly as we leave the surface. We enter the twilight zone at 200 meters down. Sunlight struggles to penetrate this thick layer of cold water. Shadows become longer and merge into a solid dark mass. The pressure begins to build against our thick steel hull. Every meter brings us closer to the quiet ocean floor. We pass 1,000 meters into the dark midnight zone. Absolute blackness surrounds us in this vast empty aquatic space. No solar light has touched this water for a millennium. The ambient temperature hovers near a freezing 2 degrees Celsius. The crushing pressure here is 100 times atmospheric normal. Only highly specialized creatures can survive this harsh, deep environment. Bioluminescent jellies drift by like tiny floating neon green stars. Their soft lights pulse slowly in a heavy cold darkness. We continue our steady drop through the endless black water. The silence outside is profound and deeply comforting to hear. 2,000 meters below the surface brings true abyssal isolation. The water feels thick and heavy with immense physical weight. Marine snow falls gently through the dark water around us. These tiny organic particles provide food for deep benthic life. Our descent feels like floating through an empty outer space. The submarine lights illuminate a small patch of the dark. We are completely disconnected from the noisy world up above. Time seems to slow down in this frozen liquid void. You are safe within this quiet bubble of warm air. Let your breathing match the slow rhythm of our descent. The altimeter shows we are nearing the actual ocean floor. We approach a depth of 2,500 meters. The bottom slowly emerges from the gloom into our lights. A vast flat plain of grey mud stretches out forever. This is the abyssal plain of the eastern Pacific Ocean. Our thrusters gently push us along the barren, muddy bottom. The pressure outside is now 250 atmospheres strong. A human could never survive unprotected in this hostile realm. Yet life finds a way to exist in the dark. We scan the horizon for signs of geological tectonic activity. We are traveling toward the famous East Pacific Rise Ridge. This is a massive underwater mountain range of volcanic origin. Tectonic plates are slowly pulling apart along this massive boundary. Magma from the Earth rises close to the crust here. The seafloor is fractured and broken by intense geological forces. We glide over jagged fields of hardened black basalt rock. The mud gives way to sharp volcanic glass and stones. The landscape looks like a barren alien planet in space. Our sonar detects tall structures rising from the rocky floor. We turn our vessel toward these strange hidden stone towers. The water ahead appears to shimmer and dance with heat. We have found an active deep ocean hydrothermal vent field. Tall chimneys of rock vent thick clouds of dark smoke. These are the legendary black smokers of the deep abyss. Seawater seeps down through cracks in the rocky ocean floor. The water meets hot magma deep beneath the planetary crust. It becomes superheated and absorbs heavy metals from the rocks. The boiling fluid shoots back up into the freezing ocean. Minerals precipitate instantly upon meeting the cold deep sea water. This process builds the tall rocky chimneys over many years. The fluid exiting these chimneys is incredibly hot and toxic. Temperatures inside the vent can reach 350 degrees. The immense pressure prevents this boiling water from forming steam. It remains a dense liquid despite the extreme thermal energy. Surrounding the vent is water at 2 degrees Celsius cold. This creates a massive temperature gradient in a small space. The vent fluid is rich in hydrogen, sulfide and iron. To most surface life, this chemical mixture is highly deadly. Yet here in the pitch dark it creates biological life. Chemosynthetic bacteria use these chemicals to create pure biological energy. These bacteria form thick white mats on the rocky surfaces. They replace plants as the primary producers of this ecosystem. Entire communities of animals rely entirely on these tiny microbes. The vent field is an oasis of life in darkness. Giant red tube worms sway gently in the warm currents. White clams cluster tightly in the cracks of the basalt. Ghostly white fish swim slowly through the shimmering heated water. The density of biomass here rivals a tropical coral reef. All of this exists without a single drop of sunlight. It is a world powered entirely by the inner earth. Among these strange creatures scuttles a very busy little predator. This is the deep-sea hydrothermal vent crab we seek. Its scientific family name is the noble and ancient Pythagoreidae. They are the apex arthropod predators of this chemical oasis. Their pale white bodies stand out against the black rocks. They move with surprising speed across the jagged mineral chimneys. These crabs have adapted perfectly to this extreme alien environment. They thrive in the crushing pressure and the toxic water. We will observe their fascinating behavior in the coming hours. For now, just watch them move through the dark water. The deep ocean is a realm of eternal quiet stillness. Surface storms never disturb the peace of this dark place. Hurricanes and typhoons pass completely unnoticed by the deep inhabitants. The water here moves in slow and ancient global currents. A single drop of water takes centuries to circulate fully. You can feel the heavy age of the ocean around us. It is a comforting thought to be so deeply hidden. The heavy water acts as a blanket over the world. It muffles all sound and movement from the busy surface. Allow this immense peacefulness to wash over your resting body. 2.5 kilometers down is a profound depth. Imagine 2 tall mountains stacked beneath the dark blue waves. That is the distance between us and the fresh air. The weight of the ocean above is truly almost unimaginable. It presses down with thousands of tons of steady force. The vent crabs feel no discomfort from this massive weight. Their internal fluids match the pressure of the outside water. They are in perfect physical harmony with their heavy environment. We too are safe inside our reinforced titanium pressure sphere. The thick walls protect us from the crushing watery depths. The darkness of the deep sea is absolute and complete. It is not like a dark room on the surface. There are no stray photons of light from the moon. This blackness has existed undisturbed since the oceans first formed. The vent crabs have lived in this shadow for ages. Their eyes have evolved to suit this pitch-black world. They do not need to see colors or sharp shapes. They rely on other senses to navigate the rocky chimneys. The darkness is a protective cloak for these deep creatures. It hides them from the few predators that swim by. The East Pacific Rise is a fascinating geological wonder zone. It stretches for thousands of miles along the ocean floor. This ridge is a factory for creating new oceanic crust. Volcanic eruptions happen frequently along this deep underwater mountain chain. Fresh lava flows out and cools instantly in the water. This creates strange pillow lava formations on the seabed. The vent fields are clustered along these active volcanic zones. They are temporary oases that may last only a decade. Earthquakes can easily alter the plumbing of these hydrothermal vents. A vent may suddenly stop flowing and become completely dormant. When a vent dies, the local ecosystem quickly collapses entirely. The chemosynthetic bacteria lose their vital supply of chemical energy. The tube worms and clams eventually starve in the dark. But the vent crabs are highly mobile and very resourceful. They simply walk away into the dark abyssal plain beyond. They search the barren seafloor for a new active vent. Scientists still wonder how they locate these distant chemical geysers. Perhaps they can smell the faint traces of hydrogen sulfide. They navigate the pitch-black void with incredible biological precision. Finding a new vent is a matter of absolute survival. The temperature gradient near a vent is remarkably steep indeed. The black smoker fluid exits at 350 degrees. Just 1 meter away, the water is 2 degrees Celsius. The vent crabs move freely between these extreme thermal zones. They must carefully manage their exposure to the scalding water. If they get too close, they could be boiled alive. If they stay too far, they might slowly freeze solid. They find a comfortable middle ground in the warm currents. The warm water provides a pleasant environment for their bodies. It speeds up their metabolism in the otherwise freezing ocean. We hover quietly in our submersible observing this hidden world. The mechanical hum of our scrubbers is a soothing sound. It blends with the gentle bubbling of the hydrothermal vents. The scene outside the window is mesmerizing and deeply calming. The shimmering warm water distorts the shapes of the rocks. It looks like a mirage in a dark liquid desert. The white crabs stand out beautifully against the black basalt. Their movements are slow and deliberate in the heavy water. They pick at the bacterial mats with their delicate claws. There is no rush or panic in their daily routine. Watching these deep-sea creatures can quiet your busy mind. They live a simple life far removed from human concerns. Their world is governed by the slow rhythms of Earth. You can learn to match their calm and steady pace. Let your breathing become as slow as the ocean currents. Release any tension holding tightly within your tired physical muscles. Sink deeper into your bed like a submarine descending downward. The heavy blankets wrap around you like the deep ocean. You are safe and warm in your own dark space. The mysteries of the deep are here to soothe you. The vent crab occupies a unique niche in this ecosystem. It is a scavenger and a predator of small animals. It keeps the bacterial mats clean and free of debris. Without the crabs, the vent community would become deeply unbalanced. They represent the resilience of life in extreme planetary environments. They survive toxic chemicals and crushing pressure with graceful ease. Their existence proves that life can flourish anywhere on Earth. even in the deepest and darkest corners of the ocean. We have much to learn from these pale armored survivors. Their quiet lives unfold completely unseen by the surface world. Our initial descent and observation have been very peaceful tonight. We have successfully located the elusive deep-sea vent crab. We understand their harsh environment of extreme pressure and heat. The East Pacific rise has revealed its dark volcanic secrets. You are now fully immersed in this deep oceanic world. The darkness surrounds you with a comforting and heavy embrace. The quiet sounds of the deep lull you towards sleep. We will remain here to observe the crabs much longer. There is still so much more to discover down here. Rest now as we prepare for the next detailed observation. The true vent crab belongs to the family called Bythagriidae. These unique crustaceans possess very highly specialized physical body structures. An average adult specimen usually measures exactly 5 centimeters across. Some larger species reach nearly 8 centimeters in total width. Their flattened bodies allow them to navigate tight rock crevices. A thick protective shell covers their delicate internal vital organs. This hard outer casing consists mostly of dense calcium carbonate. Extreme ocean pressure compresses their sturdy exoskeleton into heavy armor. The carapace displays a smooth texture without any sharp spines. A pale white coloration dominates their entire external physical appearance. Total darkness eliminates any biological need for complex pigment molecules. Melanin remains completely absent from their pale ghost-like shells. Some older individuals develop strange yellow stains on their backs. These colored marks come from toxic sulfur compounds floating nearby. Iron sulfide deposits sometimes create dark gray patches along joints. The underside of the crab features a segmented folded abdomen. Male crabs possess a narrow and pointed abdominal ventral plate. Female crabs display a much wider rounded lower abdominal section. This broader female structure provides safe storage for developing eggs. 10 jointed appendages extend outward from the central body mass. The front pair of legs evolved into powerful grasping claws. Biologists refer to these large front claws as specialized chelae. These front claws often show distinct asymmetry in mature adults. One claw grows significantly larger for crushing tough biological matter. The opposite claw remains smaller to perform delicate picking tasks. Tiny teeth line the inner edges of both heavy pincers. These serrated edges interlock perfectly when the crab closes them. Spoon-shaped tips help the crab scrape bacteria from rocks. Dense muscle fibers fill the swollen base of each claw. These muscles generate immense crushing force despite the cold water. The pairs of walking legs support the heavy armored body. Scientists call these sturdy walking limbs by the name periopards. Each walking leg contains 7 distinct cylindrical articulated joint segments. Flexible membranes connect these hard segments to allow fluid movement. These joints bend smoothly even under extreme deep ocean pressure. The terminal leg segments end in sharp-pointed curved tips. These sharp points help the crab grip slippery basaltic chimneys. Tiny stiff hairs cover the lower portions of their legs. These microscopic hairs serve as highly sensitive environmental tactile sensors. Water currents bend the hairs to reveal nearby fluid movements. The crab lacks functional eyes for seeing visible light waves. Millions of years in darkness rendered visual organs completely useless. Adult vent crabs possess only small immobile vestigial eye stalks. These reduced stalks contain no functional lenses or visual pigments. The optical nerve completely degenerated during their long evolutionary history. A smooth reflective membrane covers the empty eye socket area. To navigate without sight, the crab relies on chemical sensors. 2 pairs of short antennae protrude from the front face. These delicate antennae constantly flick through the dark, murky water. Thousands of chemoreceptors line the surface of each thin antenna. These receptors detect microscopic traces of dissolved hydrogen sulfide gas. The crab effectively smells its way toward warm thermal vents. Complex mouthparts dominate the lower front section of the face. 3 pairs of maxillipeds act as flexible feeding assist arms. These appendages sort edible material from useless toxic mineral fragments. Hard mandibles sit directly behind the soft outer feeding arms. These rigid jaws grind food particles into easily digestible paste. A protective shield called the episteme guards the upper mouth. Water enters the body through narrow slits near the legs. This fluid flows directly into 2 large internal branchial chambers. Complex feathery gills fill these spacious cavities inside the shell. The gills feature thousands of microscopic thin-walled tissue plates. These plates maximize surface area for crucial oxygen gas exchange. Vent crabs require highly efficient gills to survive hypoxic environments. The surrounding vent water contains very little dissolved oxygen gas. Fine mesh screens cover the entrance to the gill chambers. These biological filters prevent sharp mineral flakes from entering inside. Special cleaning appendages constantly brush debris off the delicate gills. The crab pumps water over its gills using rhythmic motions. A specialized paddle called the scaphognathite drives this water flow. The internal circulatory system relies on a unique blue blood. This pale blue fluid contains a copper-based protein molecule. Scientists call this specialized oxygen transport molecule by name hemocyanin. Hemocyanin binds oxygen tightly even in warm acidic vent fluid. A simple muscular heart pumps this blood through open sinuses. The heart sits positioned dorsally just beneath the top carapace. Arteries distribute the blue blood toward the brain and legs. The nervous system centers around a fused ventral nerve ganglion. This compact brain quickly processes complex chemical and tactile signals. Thick nerve cords extend outward into every single jointed leg. The digestive tract features a specialized foregut lined with chitin. A gastric mill inside the stomach further grinds swallowed food. Strong digestive enzymes break down tough bacterial cell wall structures. The midgut gland absorbs vital nutrients into the bloodstream directly. Large lipid reserves store excess energy for future scarce times. These fat deposits give the internal tissues a yellowish tint. A rigid exoskeleton cannot expand as the growing crab matures. The creature must periodically shed its hard outer physical shell. This dangerous molting process requires enormous amounts of metabolic energy. The crab absorbs calcium from its old shell before shedding. A hidden seam along the back splits open very slowly. The soft crab carefully extracts its legs from the casing. Even the delicate gill linings shed during this molting phase. The newly emerged crab feels extremely soft and highly vulnerable. It absorbs seawater rapidly to expand its new flexible body. The fresh cuticle hardens over several days in the dark. Special epidermal cells secrete new layers of strong chitin protein. Dissolved minerals from the vent fluid accelerate this hardening process. The new shell appears bright white and completely stain-free. Microscopic pores dot the entire surface of the fresh carapace. These tiny holes connect internal nerves to the outside world. Some species like Ostinogria williamsi display slightly different physical traits. Their bodies look slightly more rounded than other vent crabs. The claws of this species appear longer and more slender. Another famous relative goes by the common name Yeti crab. The Yeti crab belongs to the distinct family named Kiwaidae. This creature possesses a truly remarkable and bizarre external appearance. Dense mats of pale silky setae cover its long arms. These hair-like structures resemble the fur of mythical beasts. The thick bristles serve a very specific and vital purpose. Symbiotic bacteria grow wildly among these dense hairy arm patches. The crab uses its specialized mouthparts to harvest this bacteria. Its carapace remains smooth despite the extremely hairy front limbs. Yeti crabs often measure around 15 centimeters from claw tips. Their bodies exhibit a slightly more elongated and narrow shape. The walking legs of Yeti crabs stay relatively hair-free. Another species called Xenographis testudinatus lives near shallow toxic vents. This crab features a mottled gray and pale brown shell. Its carapace looks somewhat square with slightly rounded corner edges. The legs appear shorter and thicker than deep-sea relatives. Returning to true vent crabs, we notice their remarkable joints. A rubbery protein called resilin provides elasticity to leg hinges. This material prevents joint failure under 200 atmospheres pressure. The epicuticle forms the outermost waxy layer of the shell. This thin waterproof barrier protects against highly acidic vent fluids. Beneath the epicuticle lies the much thicker spongy exocuticle layer. The endocuticle provides the main structural support for the crab. This inner layer contains stacked sheets of parallel chitin fibers. These microscopic fibers twist slightly to form a plywood structure. This twisting design stops dangerous cracks from spreading across shells. Heat-resistant proteins stabilize the shell in boiling water currents. The crab can survive brief exposure to extreme thermal shocks. However, their bodies prefer temperatures around 25 degrees Celsius. A specialized thermal gradient sensor exists near their front antennae. This organ prevents the crab from walking into boiling water. The overall weight of an adult crab seems surprisingly heavy. Dense mineral accumulation adds significant mass to the physical body. A large male can weigh over 200 heavy grams. Females typically weigh slightly less due to smaller claw sizes. The physical footprint of the crab covers a wide area. Their sprawling leg posture lowers their center of physical gravity. This low stance prevents strong vent currents from flipping them. The bottom of the feet feature rough friction-enhancing pads. These pads grip the glassy surface of newly formed lava. The crab moves with a slow and deliberate sideways gait. They can walk forward but prefer lateral movement for speed. When threatened, they tuck their sensitive antennae beneath their shell. The large claws fold tightly against the flat front face. This defensive posture creates a solid wall of impenetrable armor. The smooth back offers no easy grip for hungry predators. Deep-sea octopuses find these crabs very difficult to crush. The crabs display remarkable physical resilience against crushing mechanical forces. Their shells absorb impacts without shattering like typical shallow crabs. This elasticity comes from high moisture content within the shell. The internal tissues also resist compression due to fluid dynamics. Water inside their cells pushes back against the ocean weight. This perfect balance maintains their delicate cellular structures completely intact. The reproductive organs remain hidden deep within the upper carapace. Ovaries in females expand massively during the active breeding season. These orange tissues stretch across the entire upper internal cavity. Male testes appear as thin white coiled tubes tucked away. Copulatory appendages on males evolved from modified rear abdominal legs. These structures transfer genetic material safely in the chaotic currents. The fertilized eggs attach to the fuzzy pleopods of females. A single female can carry thousands of tiny developing embryos. These eggs look like tiny dark brown spheres clustered together. The mother cleans them constantly with her specialized rear legs. She fans water over the eggs to provide fresh oxygen. The developing larvae inside possess large functional black compound eyes. These eyes help the swimming larvae navigate the upper ocean. As they mature and sink, they lose their visual abilities. The transformation from swimming larva to crawling adult seems drastic. Their soft transparent larval bodies become hard opaque white shells. The tail section shrinks and folds permanently under the body. The long swimming legs shorten and thicken into walking limbs. The adult form represents a masterpiece of deep-sea engineering. Every curve and joint serves a specific survival-related function. The lack of unnecessary features highlights their harsh extreme environment. No bright colors exist because light never reaches this depth. No large eyes exist because sight wastes precious metabolic energy. The pale white shell reflects the harsh reality of darkness. The heavy armor tells a story of immense crushing pressure. The specialized gills speak of toxic and oxygen-poor waters. The sensitive hairs reveal a world understood through gentle touch. The chemical sensors map a landscape of invisible toxic plumes. The asymmetrical claws demonstrate a need for highly versatile tools. The thick muscles prove the necessity of brute physical strength. The heavy metal stains record their proximity to boiling vents. The blue blood highlights their unique internal chemical life support. The flattened body shows their adaptation to narrow rock fissures. These physical traits combine to create a perfectly adapted organism. The vent crab stands as a marvel of evolutionary biology. Its body thrives where most other animals would instantly perish. The harsh abyss shaped this creature into a beautiful survivor. Its anatomy remains a testament to the resilience of life. Studying their physical form reveals the secrets of the deep. Every microscopic pore holds clues to their mysterious underwater existence. Their pale bodies glow like ghosts against the black rocks. These silent scavengers patrol the thermal vents with ancient grace. The deep-sea vent crab remains a fascinating physical wonder. Deep ocean vent crabs utilize highly unique feeding survival strategies. Complete darkness requires an alternative approach to gathering daily energy. Solar power never reaches these extreme benthic habitats down below. Instead, life relies on toxic chemicals emerging from the crust. Superheated fluids provide the foundation for this complex food web. Hydrogen sulfide acts as the primary fuel source down here. Specialized bacteria convert these deadly minerals into organic carbon compounds. This remarkable process is known by scientists as chemosynthetic production. Vent crabs position themselves carefully along the thermal fluid gradients. They harvest microbial mats growing near the boiling water chimneys. Millions of microscopic organisms blanket the jagged basaltic rock formations. These dense bacterial colonies resemble thick white carpets of snow. Crabs view these biological carpets as an unlimited food supply. They slowly crawl across the mineral deposits to begin grazing. Their front claws possess fine serrations designed for scraping surfaces. Each delicate movement strips away a nutritious layer of microbes. The removed bacteria regenerate quickly within the warm toxic water. This rapid growth allows the crabs to feed almost continuously. Mineral-rich fluids constantly bathe the rocks with fresh nutrients. The entire ecosystem functions without a single drop of sunlight. The family Bythagriidae represents the most common deep-vent crabs. These pale crustaceans are perfectly adapted for constant benthic grazing. Their mouthparts feature specialized appendages called maxillipeds for sorting food. Tiny hairs on these appendages filter out unwanted rock fragments. Only the pure bacterial mass enters their complex digestive tract. They consume vast quantities of these microbes to sustain themselves. Energy extraction from bacteria requires a highly specialized internal metabolism. The crabs must process heavy metals ingested during their meals. Special organs isolate toxic minerals like iron and dissolved copper. These dangerous elements are safely excreted back into the ocean. The famous Yeti crab utilizes an entirely different feeding mechanism. Scientists formally classify this unusual creature as Kiwa hirsuta today. This pale crab features long arms covered in dense bristles. These blonde bristles provide a perfect surface for growing bacteria. The Yeti crab essentially functions as a deep-sea farmer. It cultivates gardens of chemosynthetic microbes directly on its body. The dense hairs trap chemical nutrients floating in the water. Symbiotic bacteria colonize these hairs and multiply at rapid rates. The crab carefully tends to its mobile agricultural microbial crop. This farming strategy guarantees a constant and reliable food source. Yeti crabs actively wave their hairy arms over vent openings. This rhythmic dancing motion washes fresh minerals over the bacteria. The microbes absorb dissolved methane and sulfide from the currents. Gentle water flow maximizes the chemical conversion rate for feeding. When the bacteria mature, the crab prepares for its harvest. It uses a specialized comb-like appendage near its mouth. The crab scrapes the nutritious microbes directly off its arms. This self-sustaining cycle repeats endlessly in the silent depths. They never need to hunt or scavenge across the seafloor. Their entire nutritional requirement grows safely upon their own shells. Another fascinating species is the Kiwa puravida from cold seeps. They also farm their own food using similar rhythmic movements. These crabs rely heavily on methane oxidizing bacteria for energy. The symbiotic relationship provides mutual benefits for both living organisms. The crab offers the bacteria mobility and optimal chemical exposure. In return, the microbes provide essential carbon and amino acids. Some researchers believe the crabs absorb nutrients through their shells. Dissolved organic matter might enter directly through thin permeable membranes. This secondary feeding method supplements their primary diet of microbes. Every available energy source is utilized in this harsh environment. Not all vent crabs restrict themselves to a vegetarian diet. Many species display opportunistic predatory behaviors when the chance arises. They actively hunt smaller invertebrates dwelling near the thermal chimneys. Tiny vent snails often fall victim to their crushing claws. The crabs crack the calcium carbonate shells with immense pressure. They extract the soft, nutritious tissue hidden safely inside them. Amphipods and small shrimp also provide excellent sources of protein. The crabs wait patiently in dark crevices to ambush prey. Sudden bursts of speed allow them to capture passing creatures. This carnivorous diet delivers a massive concentration of vital energy. Scavenging plays a crucial role in vent crab survival strategies. Dead organisms constantly fall onto the crowded deep ocean floor. Giant tube worms occasionally detach and sink to the bottom. Vent crabs quickly locate these massive fallen biological protein sources. They use sharp pincers to tear the tough worm flesh. Multiple crabs often gather around a single large decaying carcass. They act as essential cleaners for the hydrothermal vent ecosystem. Nothing goes to waste in a world devoid of sunlight. Their scavenging prevents the accumulation of rotting organic matter below. This recycling process returns valuable nutrients to the food web. Finding food requires precise navigation through extreme underwater temperature gradients. The vent fluid emerges at temperatures exceeding 300 degrees. Just a few meters away, the water is near freezing. Crabs must balance their need to feed with thermal safety. The thickest bacterial mats grow dangerously close to boiling water. Crabs carefully step along the edges of these lethal zones. They snatch mouthfuls of bacteria before retreating to cooler areas. Their thick exoskeletons provide temporary protection against the sudden heat. Prolonged exposure would easily cook the crabs in their shells. This dangerous dance for sustenance continues throughout their entire lives. Ostinogria williamsi represents a highly adaptable vent crab species discovered. They inhabit the Mariana Back Arc Basin at great depths. These crabs possess an incredibly diverse and flexible daily diet. They consume bacteria, snails, dead fish, and even marine snow. Their digestive enzymes easily break down complex deep-sea proteins. This dietary flexibility ensures survival during periods of environmental instability. Hydrothermal vents can suddenly cease activity without any prior warning. When fluid stops flowing, the bacterial food source quickly dies. Adaptable crabs can survive by eating remaining dead organic material. They migrate across the barren seafloor searching for new vents. The species Xenographis testudinatus lives near shallow water volcanic seeps. These toxic sulfur vents constantly release massive streams of bubbles. The rising bubbles kill thousands of passing oceanic plankton daily. A continuous rain of dead plankton falls onto the crabs. The crabs simply wait for their meals to drift downward. They emerge from their crevices to gather the fallen snow. This passive feeding strategy requires very little active energy expenditure. They feast upon the cooked remains of microscopic surface creatures. Their habitat is extremely acidic and hostile to other predators. The crabs dominate this unique ecological niche with absolute efficiency. Deep-sea crabs lack functional eyes to locate their meals. Pitch-black surroundings render visual hunting strategies completely useless here. Instead, they rely on highly sensitive chemical receptors for foraging. Tiny sensory hairs cover their walking legs and front antennae. These delicate sensors detect faint traces of amino acids nearby. The crabs literally taste the water as they slowly walk. They follow invisible chemical trails leading toward decaying biological matter. This olfactory system works perfectly in the dark ocean currents. They can locate a dead mussel from many meters away. Their entire perception of the world is based on chemistry. Competition for prime feeding territory remains fierce among the crabs. The most nutritious bacterial mats grow in very limited spaces. Larger crabs aggressively defend the best grazing spots from rivals. They use their heavy claws to push smaller competitors aside. These territorial disputes rarely result in fatal injuries or death. Energy preservation is too important to waste on endless fighting. A simple display of size usually resolves the grazing conflict. The defeated crab simply moves to a less optimal location. Population density around active chimneys can become incredibly crowded sometimes. Hundreds of crabs might pile together over one food source. Energy storage is vital for enduring times of extreme scarcity. Vent crabs convert excess food into dense internal lipid reserves. These fat droplets are stored within their specialized hepatopancreas organ. A healthy crab builds significant reserves during peak vent activity. If the hydrothermal fluid flow decreases, their food supply shrinks. The crabs then rely entirely on their stored fat energy. Their metabolic rate slows down to conserve precious internal fuel. They enter a state of reduced activity to prolong survival. This starvation resistance allows them to outlast temporary environmental changes. Some individuals can survive for months without eating fresh food. The nutritional quality of chemosynthetic bacteria is surprisingly very high. These microbes contain massive amounts of complex carbohydrates and proteins. They provide all essential amino acids required for crustacean growth. Vent bacteria also produce vital vitamins absent in deep water. The crabs absorb these nutrients to build their tough exoskeletons. Calcium extraction from the surrounding water is a difficult process. A strong diet ensures their shells remain hard and protective. Molting requires a massive surge of stored energy to complete. Crabs increase their feeding rate significantly before shedding old shells. The soft new shell hardens quickly using accumulated dietary minerals. Cyanogria predator is a large species found in the Pacific. They prefer living near black smokers located at extreme depths. These predators actively hunt the famous Pompeii worms for sustenance. The worms build protective tubes along the boiling chimney walls. The crab uses modified claws to extract the hidden worms. This high-protein diet fuels their massive size and strength. They possess a unique blood pigment called hemocyanin for respiration. Hemocyanin binds oxygen molecules tightly in the oxygen-poor water. This highly efficient breathing mechanism supports their active hunting lifestyle. Without adequate oxygen, their digestive systems would completely shut down. Water pressure at 3,000 meters impacts their feeding mechanics. The immense weight compresses gases and alters basic chemical reactions. Crabs must expend extra effort just to move their claws. Their muscle fibers are specially adapted for high-pressure environments. Every motion is deliberate and calculated to minimize energy loss. They chew their food slowly to ensure maximum nutrient absorption. The stomach contains internal grinding teeth called a gastric mill. This biological mill pulverizes tough bacterial mats and snail shells. Fine particles are then passed into the long intestinal tract. Complete digestion can take several days in the freezing cold. Some crabs utilize a fascinating technique called suspension filter feeding. They stand perfectly still atop high rocky observation vantage points. Their feathery mouth appendages extend outward into the passing current. Microscopic organic particles become trapped within the dense biological mesh. The crabs periodically wipe these appendages clean and swallow everything. This method captures free-floating bacteria expelled from the vent. It requires almost zero physical exertion to gather a meal. Filter feeding perfectly complements their traditional scraping and hunting behaviors. Dietary diversity remains the ultimate key to deep-sea survival. Evolution has provided them with multiple tools for gathering energy. The entire biological community depends on this constant energy transfer. Vent crabs serve as primary consumers in this dark world. They bridge the gap between microscopic bacteria and larger predators. Deep-sea octopuses frequently hunt these crabs for their meat. Eelpouts and other strange fish also prey upon juvenile crabs. The energy harvested from toxic rock sustains the whole ecosystem. Without the crabs, bacterial growth would completely overrun the vents. Their continuous grazing keeps the microbial populations balanced and healthy. They act as the vital gardeners of the hydrothermal chimneys. Life flourishes here despite the crushing pressure and toxic fluids. The feeding cycle of the vent crab never truly stops. There are no seasons or distinct days in the abyss. The dark water remains eternally cold and completely pitch black. Only the gentle flow of warm fluid marks the time. Crabs continue their slow, endless march across the mineral deposits. They scrape, they hunt, and they farm in the shadows. Their survival mechanisms represent a masterpiece of biological evolutionary design. Toxic chemicals are miraculously transformed into sustaining life and energy. The deep-sea vent crab endures in quiet, peaceful harmony. This hidden world continues its silent rhythm far below us. Deep ocean currents carry invisible chemicals through the dark water. Vent crabs rely on these invisible elements for daily survival. They cultivate complex microbial gardens upon their own hard shells. Millions of chemosynthetic bacteria thrive along their pale, articulated limbs. This fascinating biological partnership represents a perfect evolutionary survival strategy. Toxic hydrogen sulfide becomes a vital energy source down here. Microbes absorb dissolved minerals from the superheated volcanic fluid plumes. The crab provides a mobile home for these tiny organisms. It positions itself carefully near the active hydrothermal chimney vents. Water temperatures fluctuate wildly across this harsh abyssal seafloor landscape. The famous Yeti crab exhibits dense white bristles called setae. These specialized hairs cover its long arms and ventral surfaces. Filamentous bacteria grow thickly across every single bristled hair shaft. The crab rhythmically waves its arms through the rising fluid. This gentle motion bathes the bacterial colonies in fresh nutrients. Scientists call this unique behavior deep-sea microbial agriculture farming. The crustacean acts as an attentive gardener in the dark. Methane and sulfide molecules wash continuously over the waving arms. The bacteria convert these toxic compounds into rich organic carbon. This chemical transformation sustains the entire localized deep-sea ecosystem. Eventually, the microbial crop reaches a mature stage of growth. The crab uses specialized mouthparts to harvest the bacterial filaments. Tiny scraping appendages comb through the dense white arm bristles. It carefully strips the nutritious microbes from its own hair. This continuous feeding cycle requires minimal energy from the crab. Traditional hunting becomes unnecessary in this barren deep ocean environment. The host consumes its own epibiotic garden to survive here. Some species derive 70% of their nutrition this way. Isotopic analysis of crab tissue confirms this heavy bacterial diet. Carbon signatures match the microbes growing on their outer shells. Vent crab digestive systems show remarkable adaptations to this diet. Their internal gastric mills process soft bacterial matter very efficiently. They lack the heavy grinding teeth found in shallow relatives. Soft microbial filaments require much less mechanical breakdown during digestion. Specialized enzymes within their stomachs break down complex bacterial walls. The midgut gland rapidly absorbs the released proteins and lipids. Some vent crabs harbor additional symbiotic bacteria inside their guts. These internal microbes assist in processing toxic heavy metal compounds. Volcanic fluids contain dangerous levels of copper, zinc, and lead. The internal bacteria isolate these metals into harmless solid granules. Managing toxicity remains a constant challenge for hydrothermal vent crabs. Hydrogen sulfide easily penetrates biological membranes in the deep sea. This chemical normally halts cellular respiration in most living animals. Vent crabs possess modified blood proteins to neutralize this threat. Their blood contains specialized compounds that bind to sulfide molecules. This binding prevents the toxin from reaching vital internal organs. The crab transports the bound sulfide to its outer gills. Here the symbiotic bacteria consume the waste product for energy. This internal detoxification system perfectly complements the external farming behavior. Host and microbe work together to survive the toxic environment. Oxygen levels remain extremely low near active hydrothermal vent chimneys. Vent crabs utilize a specialized protein called hemocyanin for respiration. This molecule gives their blood a distinct pale blue color. Deep-sea hemocyanin binds oxygen with incredibly high chemical affinity. It extracts trace amounts of oxygen from the surrounding water. The molecule functions perfectly despite extreme pressure and high temperatures. Shallow water crabs would quickly suffocate in these hypoxic conditions. Vent crabs regulate their heart rates to optimize oxygen uptake. Slow, deliberate movements help conserve their limited internal oxygen stores. Their metabolic rates adjust dynamically based on available environmental oxygen. Temperature gradients at hydrothermal vents fluctuate with extreme sudden violence. Ambient deep ocean water remains a freezing 2 degrees Celsius. Vent fluid erupts at nearly 400 degrees Celsius nearby. Crabs navigate this dangerous thermal landscape with incredible sensory precision. They possess specialized heat shock proteins within their cellular structures. These proteins prevent cellular damage during sudden extreme temperature spikes. They stabilize internal enzymes when the crab approaches boiling water. The crabs constantly shift position to find optimal thermal zones. They prefer resting in water around 25 degrees Celsius. This specific temperature maximizes the growth rate of their bacteria. Total darkness defines the abyssal zone where these crabs live. Sunlight never reaches depths of 2,000 meters below sea. Consequently, most vent crabs have completely lost their functional vision. Adult bythogoride crabs possess smooth eye stalks without optical lenses. Their degenerate eyes lack any image-forming capabilities or pigments. Visual processing centers in their brains are significantly reduced now. They rely entirely on other senses to navigate the dark. Some researchers believe their vestigial eyes might detect thermal radiation. Glowing infrared light emits faintly from the hottest vent chimneys. Detecting this dim glow could help them avoid boiling water. Without sight, the crabs utilize highly advanced chemical sensory organs. Long delicate antennae sweep continuously through the dark water column. Thousands of microscopic chemosensors cover the surface of these antennae. They function like an incredibly sensitive underwater nose for crabs. These sensors detect dissolved amino acids and distant sulfide plumes. The crab follows invisible chemical trails across the barren seafloor. This tracking ability leads them toward newly formed hydrothermal vents. They can smell a decaying carcass from several miles away. Chemical gradients guide their every movement in the pitch black. Their antennae also detect subtle changes in water fluid pressure. Tactile perception plays a crucial role in their daily survival. Stiff sensory hairs cover their walking legs and large claws. These mechanoreceptors feel the slightest vibrations in the surrounding water. They detect the movements of approaching predators or potential mates. The crabs carefully probe the rocky substrate before stepping forward. They memorize the physical layout of their immediate vent territory. Constant physical contact maintains their spatial awareness in the dark. Their hard exoskeletons transmit acoustic vibrations directly to internal nerves. They navigate complex mineral chimney structures with perfect physical grace. Every step is calculated to avoid dangerous superheated fluid flows. The microbial communities on their shells display incredible genetic diversity. Multiple distinct bacterial strains coexist upon a single crab host. Some specialize in oxidizing sulfur compounds from the vent fluid. Others process methane gas bubbling up from the ocean floor. This diverse microbial portfolio ensures a steady, reliable food supply. If one chemical diminishes, another bacteria strain compensates very quickly. The crab carries an entire adaptable ecosystem on its back. Scientists sequence the DNA of these microbes with great interest. They discover new biological pathways for energy production down here. These microscopic organisms hold secrets to early life on Earth. Crabs must periodically shed their hard exoskeletons to grow larger. This molting process creates a temporary crisis for the symbiosis. The crab leaves its entire bacterial garden behind upon molting. The freshly emerged crab possesses a clean, soft outer shell. It must rapidly cultivate a new microbial crop to survive. The crab rubs its body against older rocks and shells. This physical contact inoculates the new shell with bacterial spores. Fast-growing microbes colonize the fresh seti within several days. During this vulnerable period, the crab hides deep within crevices. It relies on stored internal energy reserves until farming resumes. Maintaining the bacterial garden requires constant behavioral thermoregulation by crabs. The microbes demand a very specific mix of temperature conditions. They need warm fluid but cannot survive direct boiling heat. The crab acts as a living thermostat for its farm. It inches closer to the vent when the water cools. It retreats backward when the thermal output becomes too intense. Massive swarms of crabs cluster along the optimal thermal boundaries. They form dense living carpets over the dark mineral formations. 600 individuals can occupy a single square meter space. They constantly jostle each other to maintain perfect farming positions. The wharf crab cultivates its bacteria primarily on its chest. Dense mats of hair cover its ventral surface completely now. This species lives near vents in the freezing Southern Ocean. It hovers directly over narrow cracks emitting warm volcanic fluid. The crab traps the rising heat beneath its hairy chest. This creates a perfect microclimate for the chemosynthetic bacterial colonies. The cold surrounding water creates a steep localized temperature gradient. The crab remains perfectly still to maintain this thermal trap. It slowly scrapes its chest to feed on the harvest. This highly specialized posture maximizes energy production in freezing waters. Shallow water thermal vents host different but equally fascinating crabs. The species Xenographus testudinatus lives near toxic sulfur vent systems. These crabs swarm around vents off the coast of Taiwan. They do not farm bacteria directly on their own shells. Instead, they wait for ocean currents to kill passing plankton. Toxic vent plumes paralyze tiny organisms drifting through the water. A continuous shower of dead biological matter falls downward slowly. Scientists call this phenomenon marine snow or toxic vent fallout. The crabs catch this falling debris with remarkable physical agility. They thrive in waters too poisonous for any other predators. Some deep-sea crabs host bacteria directly inside their gills. The gill chambers provide a protected environment for microbial growth. Water continuously pumps through the gills for normal animal respiration. This steady flow delivers dissolved sulfides directly to the bacteria. The microbes process the toxins before they enter the bloodstream. This internal arrangement offers superior protection from harsh external currents. The crab absorbs dissolved organic molecules leaking from the bacteria. It is a seamless integration of two entirely different organisms. The boundary between host and symbiont becomes conceptually very blurred. They function together as a single unified biological survival machine. Researchers study the evolutionary timeline of this remarkable biological partnership. Fossil records indicate vent crabs evolved millions of years ago. They migrated from shallow coastal waters into the deep abyss. The transition required massive physiological changes over countless successive generations. Forming alliances with chemosynthetic bacteria was their key to survival. Without the microbes, the crabs would certainly starve down here. The bacteria also depend entirely on the mobility of crabs. Free-floating bacteria cannot maintain their position near active vents. Ocean currents would quickly sweep them into cold, barren waters. The crab provides the crucial anchor in a turbulent world. Passing the symbiotic bacteria to offspring remains a complex process. Female crabs carry their developing eggs beneath their broad abdomens. The eggs require clean oxygenated water to develop properly safely. Females must migrate away from the toxic active vent chimneys. They travel into colder peripheral zones to protect their brood. During this time, the females cannot farm or feed normally. They endure months of slow starvation while guarding the eggs. The newly hatched larvae float away into the open ocean. These microscopic larvae do not possess the symbiotic bacteria yet. They must find their own microbes upon settling at vents. Juvenile crabs eventually sink back down to the ocean floor. They must locate an active hydrothermal vent system very quickly. Chemical cues guide the tiny crabs toward the warm fluids. Upon arrival, they immediately acquire local bacteria from the environment. The specific bacterial strains vary between different geographical vent sites. Crabs adapt to whatever chemosynthetic microbes are locally available there. This flexibility allows them to colonize newly formed volcanic ridges. The initial bacterial infection triggers the development of specialized setae. The crab begins growing the necessary farming equipment almost immediately. A lifelong partnership begins in the dark depths of ocean. The relationship between crab and bacteria represents true ecological harmony. They transform a deadly toxic environment into a thriving oasis. Heavy metals and boiling acids become the foundation of life. The deep-sea vent crab is a master of adaptation. It has conquered the most extreme habitat on our planet. Through patient farming, it turns poisonous chemicals into sustained energy. The gentle waving of hairy arms continues in the dark. Invisible microbial forests grow silently upon their pale armored shells. This hidden world operates entirely independent of the distant sun. Life finds a beautiful, persistent way in the deepest shadows. The deep ocean vent crab moves with slow precision. It navigates the dark mineral chimneys without any sight. Thermal gradients guide its careful steps across jagged rocks. Boiling water constantly flows from nearby black smoke vents. The crustacean avoids these lethal plumes using chemical sensors. Each step requires immense energy under this crushing pressure. Its 8 walking legs probe the uneven basalt surface. Sharp claws grip the slippery bacterial mats very tightly. The blind crab maintains a steady pace along ridges. It never rushes through the dark abyssal ocean water. Locomotion at 3,000 meters deep presents unique challenges. Extreme water density forces the creature to move deliberately. Joint fluids remain viscous in the cold surrounding ocean. The crab flexes its limbs to maintain joint mobility. It crawls sideways across the steep hydrothermal vent walls. Tiny hairs on its legs detect subtle water currents. These setae vibrate when superheated water approaches the shell. The animal immediately retreats from dangerously high water temperatures. It prefers a comfortable zone around 20 degrees Celsius. Finding this perfect thermal balance requires constant daily movement. A typical day involves continuous exploration of the chimney. The crab searches for fallen debris among tube worms. It carefully steps over the fragile shells of mollusks. Scavenging forms a major part of its daily routine. The crab investigates every crevice for potential food sources. It uses its front pincers to sift through sediments. Small particles are lifted toward its complex mouth parts. Maxillipeds sort the edible organic matter from toxic minerals. The creature spits out unwanted sulfur and copper fragments. This feeding process continues slowly throughout the dark hours. Grooming is another essential activity for the vent crab. Mineral deposits constantly fall from the active hydrothermal plumes. Ash and heavy metals coat the white carapace daily. The crab must clean its joints to prevent stiffness. It uses specialized rear legs to brush its back. These flexible appendages sweep away the accumulated toxic dust. Clean gills are vital for extracting limited dissolved oxygen. The crab spends hours meticulously wiping its breathing organs. It gently removes parasitic worms that attach to shells. Maintaining physical cleanliness ensures survival in this harsh habitat. Some species display highly specialized daily farming behavior patterns. The yeti crab grows thick bacterial gardens on itself. Long pale arms are covered in dense filamentous setae. The crab slowly waves these hairy arms in currents. This rhythmic motion washes fresh nutrients over the bacteria. It looks like a slow dance in the dark. The animal performs this sweeping gesture for several hours. Hydrogen sulfide feeds the growing microbes on its arms. Later the crab harvests this crop with its mouth. It scrapes the nutritious bacteria directly off the hairs. This self-sustaining lifestyle requires finding the perfect current. The crab positions itself near gentle warm fluid seeps. It anchors its back legs firmly into the rock. The front claws extend outward into the rising chemicals. Sometimes multiple crabs gather around the exact same seep. They form dense white piles of overlapping crustacean bodies. Competition for the best thermal spot is quite intense. Hundreds of individuals might crowd a single square meter. They stack on top of each other very peacefully. The bottom crabs tolerate the weight of their neighbors. Social interactions among vent crabs are surprisingly complex affairs. They use chemical signals to communicate in the dark. Pheromones dissolve into the water from their outer shells. Other crabs detect these messages using specialized olfactory antennae. A dominant male releases specific compounds to claim territory. Smaller males smell the warning and quietly move away. Physical fights are rare because energy is too precious. Instead, they perform ritualized displays to settle their disputes. Two rivals will face off and raise their claws. They tap their pincers against the hard mineral floor. The acoustic vibrations travel through the dense abyssal water. The larger crab usually wins this peaceful intimidation game. The loser lowers its claws and slowly backs down. It retreats to a cooler zone on the periphery. Mating behaviors also rely heavily on delicate chemical cues. Females release a unique scent when ready to molt. Males follow this invisible trail across the vent field. A suitor approaches the female with very slow movements. He gently strokes her carapace with his front legs. This calming gesture prevents her from attacking in defense. The male guards the female during her vulnerable molt. He stands over her soft body for several days. This protective behavior ensures the continuation of their species. Once her new shell hardens, they go separate ways. The female eventually carries thousands of eggs beneath her. She moves to slightly cooler water to protect them. Extreme heat would destroy the developing embryos very quickly. She gently aerates the egg mass with her pleopods. Rhythmic fanning provides essential oxygen to her unborn young. She cleans the eggs daily to prevent fungal infections. Vent crabs share their habitat with many other species. They crawl among giant red-tipped rifsha tube worms. The crabs do not usually harm these massive worms. They merely use the white tubes as climbing structures. Swarms of blind shrimp often surround the larger crabs. The crab ignores the tiny shrimp darting around it. Occasionally a crab might catch a slow-moving snail. It crushes the thin shell with its powerful claw. The smaller left claw carefully extracts soft snail meat. This specialized tool use shows remarkable deep-sea adaptation. The crab seeks shelter when the ocean currents grow strong. It wedges its flat body into a narrow rock crevice. The hard carapace provides excellent protection against falling mineral debris. Resting phases are crucial for conserving precious deep-sea energy. The animal remains completely motionless in the dark, cold shadows. Its slow heartbeat matches the quiet rhythm of the abyss. Only its small antennae twitch to monitor the surrounding water. Sleep in this extreme environment is merely a light resting. The creature must always stay alert for sudden temperature changes. A shifting vent plume could boil a sleeping crab instantly. Older crabs often display scars from previous territorial vent battles. Missing limbs can regenerate during the next complex molting cycle. The molting process requires immense preparation and perfect hiding spots. The crab stops eating for weeks before shedding its shell. It absorbs valuable calcium back into its soft inner body. The old carapace splits open along the back very slowly. The crab pulls its soft legs out of rigid tubes. This vulnerable state lasts until the new armor fully hardens. The fresh shell looks bright white against the black rocks. Minerals from the water gradually stain the new shell yellow. Deep-sea crabs possess highly adapted nervous systems for survival. Their brains process chemical gradients instead of visual light images. The lack of eyes does not hinder their daily activities. They map the hydrothermal vent field through touch and smell. Memory allows them to return to the best feeding grounds. They remember the exact locations of safe resting rock crevices. The crabs navigate a three-dimensional maze of mineral chimneys. They climb vertical walls using tiny hooks on their feet. A sudden slip could send them falling into freezing darkness. They grip the porous rocks with incredible strength and patience. Some vent crabs undertake long migrations across the ocean floor. They leave dying vents to find new active thermal springs. This journey takes them through freezing waters near 2 degrees. Their metabolism slows down drastically in the cold abyssal plains. They walk for miles without any food or warm currents. Chemical trails from distant vents guide their long, lonely march. Many perish during this dangerous trek across the barren mud. The survivors reach a new thriving oasis of chemical energy. They quickly warm their cold bodies near the hot fluids. Normal feeding and social behaviors resume in the new home. The population density around a healthy vent is truly staggering. Thousands of crabs form a moving white blanket over rocks. They constantly shift positions to find the optimal water temperature. The entire colony looks like a single breathing living organism. Crabs on the outer edge push inward toward the warmth. Inner crabs move outward when the water becomes too hot. This continuous slow circulation keeps the whole community perfectly balanced. They share the limited space through mutual tolerance and avoidance. Even during feeding frenzies, they rarely injure their close neighbors. A strict social hierarchy dictates access to the best food. Larger, older males usually claim the most nutrient-rich zones. Smaller juveniles feed in the cooler, less productive peripheral areas. The young crabs grow slowly in the cold, dark margins. They wait patiently for their turn to occupy prime territory. When a large crab dies, the others quickly recycle it. Nothing goes to waste in this resource-starved benthic ecosystem. The calcium from the shell dissolves back into the water. The organic matter sustains the remaining members of the colony. Death and life intertwine seamlessly around the boiling hydrothermal vents. The crabs accept this harsh reality without any visible distress. Their daily rhythm is not governed by the distant sun. There is no day or night in the deep ocean. Instead, they follow the fluctuating pulses of the Earth itself. Tidal forces can slightly alter the flow of vent fluids. The crabs sense these subtle changes in pressure and temperature. They adjust their feeding schedules to match the chemical output. During high flow periods, they actively harvest the abundant bacteria. When the flow decreases, they conserve energy and rest quietly. This deep connection to geological rhythms defines their entire existence. They are true children of the restless tectonic ocean floor. The pale crabs blend perfectly with the white bacterial mats. This camouflage protects them from the rare deep-sea octopus. When a predator approaches, the crabs freeze in absolute stillness. They tuck their legs tightly beneath their smooth, flat shells. Their lack of movement makes them invisible in the dark. If discovered, they can swim backward using quick tail flicks. This rapid escape mechanism consumes a massive amount of energy. They only use it as a desperate last survival resort. Usually they prefer to simply hide among the toxic chimneys. Predators avoid the boiling acidic water near the active vents. The life of a vent crab is slow and methodical. They live in harmony with extreme heat and crushing cold. Their movements reflect millions of years of perfect evolutionary adaptation. Every step is calculated to maximize survival in the abyss. They do not waste motion or energy on unnecessary actions. Their gentle interactions maintain peace within the massive crowded colonies. Chemical whispers guide them through the eternal pitch-black night. They farm their own food with patient rhythmic sweeping gestures. They clean their bodies with meticulous care and constant attention. They build their lives around the fleeting warmth of volcanoes. Watching these blind creatures navigate the rocks brings immense peace. Their slow, deliberate steps calm the restless human observing mind. They ask for nothing but a warm current of water. They find abundance in the most hostile environment on Earth. Their quiet resilience inspires a deep sense of tranquil wonder. The vent crabs continue their endless dance in the dark. They move to the slow, silent music of the deep. Their lives remain hidden away from the bright, chaotic surface. They rest peacefully near the warm, steady heartbeat of Earth. The deep ocean holds them safely in its dark embrace. Tomorrow will bring the exact same slow and steady routine. They will crawl over the familiar jagged black mineral walls. They will harvest the fresh white bacteria from their arms. They will navigate the invisible thermal gradients with perfect grace. Their simple existence flows like the gentle deep ocean currents. Time loses all meaning in this eternal dark abyssal sanctuary. The crabs simply exist in a state of quiet balance. They are the quiet guardians of the hydrothermal vent world. Their slow journey continues forever in the peaceful deep sea. Sleep comes easily in the silent depths of the ocean. Vent crabs live in total darkness on the ocean floor. Visual perception offers absolutely no advantage in this abyssal zone. Their eyes have evolved into highly specialized thermal sensing organs. A naked retina detects faint infrared radiation from thermal vents. This crucial adaptation prevents them from entering freezing deep water. The ambient ocean temperature constantly hovers around 2 degrees Celsius. Boiling hydrothermal fluids emerge at roughly 400 degrees Celsius. These crabs must navigate the extreme gradient between these zones. Blind crabs use thermal signatures to find safe resting places. The dorsal organ captures invisible light emitted by black smokers. Traditional image-forming lenses dissolved during their long evolutionary history. They possess a smooth cornea without any distinct optical facets. Massive photoreceptor cells pack tightly beneath this simplified transparent shell. These cells absorb low-energy photons from glowing mineral chimneys. Rhodopsin proteins inside their eyes react to faint thermal glows. The visual pigment shifts its sensitivity toward longer infrared wavelengths. This unique spectrum allows crabs to avoid lethal boiling water. A sudden bright thermal flash indicates a dangerous chimney collapse. The nervous system processes thermal data as basic spatial maps. They perceive their environment as varying intensities of radiant heat. Long antennae sweep the water to detect dissolved chemical compounds. Specialized chemoreceptors identify toxic hydrogen sulfide plumes in the current. The tasks are tiny sensory hairs located on their first antennae. These delicate structures function exactly like a highly sensitive nose. Thousands of olfactory neurons connect directly to the brain center. They can track chemical trails originating from distant active vents. Amino acids dissolved in seawater signal the presence of food. The crabs constantly flick their antennae to sample new water. Flicking motions push fresh chemical molecules across the sensory hairs. This behavior helps them locate bacterial mats in total darkness. Deep ocean vent fluids contain incredibly high concentrations of iron. Copper and zinc particles float freely within the superheated water. Crab chemoreceptors differentiate between nutritious organic matter and toxic metals. They detect minute changes in water acidity near the chimneys. Vent fluids are highly acidic with low potential hydrogen levels. Ambient seawater maintains a slightly alkaline state around the vents. Crabs follow these chemical gradients to maintain optimal living conditions. Their legs possess additional contact chemoreceptors for tasting the ground. Tiny pores on their claws sample minerals before eating begins. This prevents the accidental ingestion of pure toxic sulfur deposits. Mechanoreceptors cover the entire surface of their pale white exoskeleton. These microscopic bristles bend gently with passing deep ocean currents. Fluid dynamics provide vital information about nearby obstacles and predators. Water displacement alerts the crab to approaching deep-sea octopuses. The hairs connect to sensitive nerve endings beneath the shell. Each hair responds to specific frequencies of underwater acoustic vibration. Rushing vent fluids create continuous low-frequency rumbling sound waves. Crabs use these acoustic cues to orient themselves while foraging. They sense tectonic tremors radiating through the basaltic ocean crust. Microearthquakes frequently alter the flow of life-sustaining vent fluids. Statocysts act as internal balance organs inside the crab head. These hollow fluid-filled chambers contain tiny dense mineral grains. Gravity pulls the heavy grains against sensitive internal receptor cells. This mechanism tells the crab which direction is currently up. Navigating vertical chimney walls requires perfect spatial awareness and balance. Crabs frequently climb steep mineral deposits seeking warmer fluid flows. The statocysts adjust instantly when a crab loses its footing. Falling crabs can quickly right themselves before hitting the bottom. Pitch and roll movements trigger immediate corrective motor nerve responses. This internal gyroscope functions flawlessly despite the crushing water pressure. Hydrostatic pressure at hydrothermal vents reaches crushing and extreme levels. Many vent crabs reside 2,000 meters below the surface. 200 atmospheres of pressure push against their delicate bodies. Surface-dwelling animals would instantly collapse under this immense weight. Vent crabs possess specialized biological adaptations to survive this environment. Their cellular membranes incorporate unique fluidizing lipids to remain flexible. Normal cell membranes would freeze solid under such high pressure. Unsaturated fatty acids prevent their tissue from becoming dangerously rigid. This biochemical adjustment maintains vital cellular functions at great depths. Pressure changes affect the volume of proteins inside living cells. Deep-sea crabs utilize organic osmolytes to stabilize their proteins. Trimethylamine oxide prevents water molecules from crushing delicate protein structures. This chemical compound acts like an internal microscopic support scaffold. High concentrations of piezolites exist within every single crab muscle. These molecules counteract the distorting effects of extreme hydrostatic pressure. Enzymes continue functioning normally because their three-dimensional shapes hold. Respiration and metabolism proceed without any pressure-induced chemical delays. Their shells contain calcium carbonate mixed with flexible chitin polymers. Water easily permeates the crab tissues to equalize internal pressure. They have no compressible gas spaces inside their entire body. The thermal environment fluctuates wildly within mere centimeters of space. A crab may experience freezing water on its back shell. Simultaneously, its front claws touch near boiling hydrothermal vent fluids. Specialized heat shock proteins protect their internal organs from damage. These molecular chaperones repair damaged cellular structures almost instantly underwater. When temperatures spike, the cells manufacture more protective protein molecules. Vent crabs tolerate internal body temperatures up to 30 degrees. Prolonged exposure to higher temperatures will eventually cook their tissues. Their nervous system constantly monitors temperature variations across their legs. Tiny thermal sensors trigger immediate withdrawal reflexes from boiling water. Crabs engage in continuous behavioral thermoregulation to maintain bodily homeostasis. They constantly shuffle back and forth along the vent periphery. Moving closer to the vent increases their baseline metabolic rate. Retreating into the cold water slows their heart rate significantly. This delicate dance requires constant sensory feedback from the environment. A sudden shift in ocean currents carries dangerous boiling water. Crabs must react within milliseconds to survive these thermal blasts. Their leg joints contain specialized proprioceptors to monitor muscle stretch. This allows precise coordinated movements across jagged slippery mineral deposits. They navigate the chaotic vent terrain with slow, deliberate grace. Deep ocean waters often lack sufficient dissolved oxygen for survival. Vent crabs monitor internal oxygen levels through specialized vascular sensors. Their blue blood contains hemocyanin to bind scarce oxygen molecules. Hemocyanin functions efficiently despite the extreme pressure and varying temperatures. When oxygen drops, the crab senses an urgent internal warning. Gills extract microscopic oxygen bubbles from the surrounding toxic water. The gill chambers contain sensors to detect toxic mineral buildup. Crabs frequently clean their gills using small, flexible, sweeping appendages. This grooming behavior ensures maximum respiratory efficiency in harsh conditions. Their heart rate adjusts automatically based on ambient oxygen availability. Many vent crabs farm symbiotic bacteria directly on their bodies. Dense patches of hair on their chest cultivate these microbes. The crab must sense the health of its bacterial garden. Chemical receptors monitor the metabolic output of the growing bacteria. They move their bodies to bathe bacteria in nutrient streams. The bacteria require a precise mixture of oxygen and sulfide. Crabs use their environmental sensors to find this perfect mixture. They position their chests directly into the swirling chemical currents. Mechanoreceptors indicate when the bacterial mats grow thick and heavy. Special appendages harvest the mature bacteria for vital nutritional consumption. Moving through the deep requires incredible spatial awareness and control. Proprioceptors inside the joints constantly measure the angle of limbs. The crab always knows the exact position of its claws. This internal sense works perfectly without any visual light input. Muscle tension sensors prevent the limbs from snapping under pressure. Walking across fragile mineral chimneys requires very carefully measured steps. The crab tests the structural integrity of rocks before stepping. Sensory feedback from the claw tips evaluates the surface hardness. Soft crumbling minerals trigger a rapid backward retreat for safety. They memorize the physical layout of their immediate home territory. Nociceptors provide the crab with a basic sense of pain. These specialized nerves detect actual physical damage to the shell. A predator attack triggers immediate evasive action and defensive posturing. Crabs can voluntarily amputate a damaged leg to escape danger. This process involves a complex sensory reflex called autotomy shedding. A specialized valve seals the wound instantly to prevent bleeding. The nervous system suppresses pain signals during the escape sequence. A new limb will gradually regenerate over several molting cycles. The regenerating limb develops completely new sensory nerves and hairs. This ensures the crab maintains its crucial environmental awareness intact. Growing crabs must periodically shed their hard protective outer skeleton. This molting process temporarily destroys their external sensory hair network. The newly exposed soft shell lacks immediate environmental sensory input. Crabs hide in dark crevices during this highly vulnerable phase. Internal pressure sensors help them absorb water to expand properly. The new exoskeleton hardens slowly in the cold deep water. Fresh mechanoreceptors gradually connect to the central nervous system pathways. Chemical sensitivity returns as new pores open on the antennae. The renewed sensory system is highly tuned and extremely sharp. They emerge from hiding to resume foraging near the vents. Scientists believe vent crabs may possess a rudimentary magnetic sense. Tiny magnetic particles exist within certain regions of their brains. The Earth provides a constant magnetic field across the ocean. Magnetic alignment could help crabs navigate the vast abyssal plains. Finding a new thermal vent requires traveling across freezing mud. Chemical plumes dissipate quickly in the open ocean bottom currents. Magnetic navigation would guide them toward new geologically active zones. This invisible map prevents them from wandering into endless darkness. The magnetic sense remains a fascinating mystery of deep biology. Every journey away from a vent carries immense survival risks. Vent crabs must also sense the presence of other crabs. Crowded vent communities require constant social navigation and spatial awareness. Pheromones released into the water communicate reproductive readiness to mates. Male crabs detect these faint chemical signals from female crabs. Antennae track the pheromone trail through the chaotic vent currents. Physical contact between crabs involves gentle tapping with front claws. These tactile exchanges establish territory boundaries without causing physical harm. Vibration sensors detect the aggressive stomping of rival male crabs. Smaller crabs sense these warning vibrations and quietly move away. This sensory communication prevents unnecessary and dangerous physical vent conflicts. The sensory organs must withstand constant exposure to heavy metals. Toxic minerals would normally destroy delicate nerve endings very quickly. Crabs secrete a protective mucus layer over their sensory hairs. This biological shield prevents copper from binding to nerve cells. Metallothionein proteins bind and neutralize toxic metals inside their bodies. This internal detoxification preserves the function of their complex brain. Sensory neurons continue firing accurately despite the harsh chemical environment. The crabs filter their sensory input to ignore background noise. High sulfur concentrations become a normal baseline for their senses. They only react to sudden changes in the chemical gradients. The crab brain is a highly efficient sensory processing engine. It dedicates massive neural resources to interpreting smell and temperature. Visual processing centers have shrunk dramatically over evolutionary time scales. Olfactory lobes dominate the anterior portion of the crab brain. Millions of sensory signals arrive at the brain every second. The nervous system filters out steady rhythmic ocean current vibrations. It prioritizes sudden chaotic signals indicating immediate danger or food. This selective attention saves vital metabolic energy in the dark. Memory circuits store information about the most productive bacterial patches. The brain creates a fluid mental map of the vent. The vent crab experience is a world completely alien to us. They feel the deep ocean through chemistry and gentle heat. Crushing pressure provides a comforting blanket of constant physical support. Toxic plumes paint a vivid navigational landscape across the dark. Every tiny hair vibrates with the pulse of the earth. They rest peacefully beside the roaring fires of the deep. Their senses perfectly match the extreme demands of their home. Evolution has crafted a masterpiece of biological engineering and survival. The deep sea remains a realm of quiet sensory perfection. We leave the crabs resting in their warm chemical sanctuary. Life begins quietly in the deep hydrothermal vent ecosystems. Reproduction here presents unique challenges for crustacean species. Extreme darkness hides potential mates from visual detection. High pressure complicates the delicate biological processes involved. Vent crabs must rely on alternative sensory mechanisms. Chemical signals guide them through the pitch-black ocean. Pheromones travel quickly along the warm thermal currents. Male crabs possess specialized antennae for detecting these chemicals. They follow invisible trails toward receptive female partners. This chemical tracking ensures successful encounters across vast distances. Courtship rituals remain subtle among these deep-sea dwellers. Males approach females slowly to avoid triggering defensive reactions. Physical contact initiates the complex mating sequence underwater. Tactile communication replaces visual displays used by shallow crabs. The male gently strokes the female carapace with his claws. This gentle stimulation calms her during the mating process. Both individuals align their bodies carefully in the current. Copulation occurs while the female shell is newly molted. A soft exoskeleton allows for successful genetic material transfer. Spermatophores are deposited safely into specialized reproductive receptacles. Females can store this sperm for many passing months. They wait for optimal environmental conditions before fertilization begins. Food abundance dictates the precise timing of egg production. Bacterial mats must flourish to support the future offspring. Once ready, the female extrudes thousands of tiny eggs. These unfertilized eggs pass through the stored sperm packets. Fertilization happens externally but within a protected abdominal pouch. A sticky substance attaches the eggs to her pleopods. These feathery appendages hold the developing embryo securely underneath. The resulting egg mass resembles a bright orange sponge. A single female Bythogyria thermodron carries 30,000 eggs. Each individual embryo measures merely 0.2 millimeters. This massive quantity compensates for extremely high mortality rates. Deep-sea environments remain hostile to fragile developing life. The mother crab assumes a dedicated brooding posture now. She elevates her body slightly above the rocky substrate. This position allows fresh ocean water to circulate freely. Oxygen must reach every single egg in the cluster. She rhythmically beats her pleopods to generate artificial currents. This constant fanning prevents deadly fungal infections from spreading. Temperature regulation becomes her primary concern during this period. Vent fluids emerge at 400 degrees Celsius nearby. Surrounding ambient seawater hovers around 2 degrees Celsius constantly. Crab embryos require a stable intermediate temperature for growth. The mother navigates along steep thermal gradients very carefully. She finds microhabitats measuring exactly 10 degrees Celsius. This specific warmth accelerates cellular division within the eggs. Too much heat would instantly destroy the delicate proteins. Extreme cold would halt embryonic development completely and permanently. She maintains this perfect positioning for several long weeks. Inside each translucent sphere, microscopic crustacean features slowly form. Tiny black eye spots become visible through the outer membrane. Miniature jointed legs fold tightly against developing internal organs. Yolk reserves provide essential nutrients for these growing bodies. Lipids within the yolk sustain them through early stages. The mother crab rarely feeds during this critical incubation. Her energy is entirely devoted to protecting her brood. Predators constantly patrol the vent periphery looking for snacks. Zooarcid fish would gladly consume the nutrient-rich eggs. She defends her precious cargo with sharp defensive pincers. Hatching time approaches as the yolk sacs finally deplete. The egg membranes begin to thin and break apart. Muscular contractions from the embryos shatter the remaining shells. Thousands of microscopic zoea larvae burst into the water. The mother vigorously shakes her abdomen to release them. This synchronized hatching event overwhelms local predators through sheer numbers. These newly born creatures look nothing like adult crabs. They possess long dorsal spines for buoyancy and defense. Large compound eyes dominate their tiny transparent cephalothorax structures. A slender segmented abdomen trails behind their main body. The zoea immediately face a perilous upward vertical migration. Hydrothermal plumes carry them away from the seafloor vents. Buoyant warm water lifts the larvae hundreds of meters. They ascend into the cold abyssal water column above. This pelagic phase disperses the population across the ocean. Genetic diversity depends entirely upon this crucial drifting period. Deep ocean currents transport them toward undiscovered vent systems. They may travel hundreds of kilometers before settling down. The journey lasts anywhere from 30 to 60 days. Many larvae perish in the freezing nutrient-poor abyss. Survival requires them to feed on falling marine snow. They consume microscopic plankton drifting through the dark waters. Their tiny maxillipeds capture floating organic particles very efficiently. As they eat, the larvae grow and must molt. They shed their restrictive exoskeletons multiple times while drifting. Each successive zoal stage brings slight anatomical changes forward. Eventually they transform into the advanced megalopa larval stage. The megalopa resembles a tiny lobster with functional claws. Its abdomen extends straight backward for powerful swimming strokes. This stage marks the beginning of their downward journey. The megalopa must locate a suitable hydrothermal vent habitat. Finding these isolated oases is mathematically highly improbable. They rely on complex sensory cues to navigate downward. Chemical signatures from vent fluids guide their descent path. Hydrogen sulfide acts as a powerful attractant for them. They detect minute temperature changes in the deep water. Acoustic signals from venting chimneys might also provide direction. They swim actively toward these promising environmental indicator signs. The pressure increases steadily as they return to depth. Their bodies adapt perfectly to the crushing 200 atmospheres. Upon reaching the seafloor, the critical settlement phase begins. The megalopa searches for a safe crevice among rocks. They avoid areas with established adult crab populations initially. Cannibalism poses a severe threat to these tiny newcomers. They hide within dense clusters of giant tube worms. The protective tubes offer shelter from larger hungry predators. Here, the final dramatic metamorphosis finally takes place quietly. The extended abdomen folds permanently underneath the main cephalothorax. They emerge as true juvenile crabs measuring 2 millimeters. Their shells are pale white and lack any pigmentation. The juvenile phase involves rapid growth and constant feeding. They graze on thick bacterial mats covering the basalts. Chemosynthetic microbes provide all necessary calories for their development. Frequent molting is required to accommodate their expanding bodies. Molting in the deep sea is a dangerous undertaking. The crab must extract its soft body from the shell. Even their delicate gills and eye stalks are completely replaced. The newly molted crab remains completely defenseless and soft. It absorbs seawater to expand its new flexible exoskeleton. Calcification hardens the new armor over several passing days. Minerals dissolved in the vent fluid aid this calcification. Calcium carbonate strengthens the carapace against crushing physical blows. Iron sulfides often precipitate onto their growing exterior shells. This gives older crabs a distinct rusty brown appearance. Growth rates vary depending on proximity to the vents. Crabs living closer to warm fluids metabolize food faster. They reach sexual maturity within approximately 2 full years. Carapace width reaches about 4 centimeters at this stage. Males develop significantly larger crushing claws than the females. These dimorphic traits signal readiness for the mating cycle. The exact lifespan of vent crabs remains difficult to study. Tagging crustaceans is complicated by their frequent molting cycles. Scientists use radiometric dating of their carapaces for estimates. Radium isotopes accumulate slowly in their hardened shell structures. Measurements suggest a lifespan of roughly 10 to 12 years. This longevity is remarkable for such extreme environmental conditions. Toxic heavy metals constantly bombard their internal organ systems. High acidity threatens to dissolve their protective calcium shells. Yet their physiology repairs cellular damage with incredible efficiency. Specialized proteins bind to dangerous metals for safe excretion. Throughout their lives, they remain tied to the vents. A crab wandering too far will slowly freeze and starve. The boundary between life and death measures mere meters. They constantly monitor fluid flow changes across the seafloor. Hydrothermal vents are inherently unstable geological features over time. Earthquakes frequently alter the subterranean plumbing of the ridge. A thriving vent chimney can suddenly cease flowing completely. When a vent dies, the local crab population suffers. Adults cannot swim away to find new active habitats. They must slowly walk across the freezing abyssal plain. This migration is a desperate race against starvation and cold. Very few adults survive the journey between distant vents. This highlights the evolutionary importance of their pelagic larvae. Only the drifting young can effectively colonize new fissures. The entire species relies on this continuous larval dispersal. Generation after generation repeats this incredible biological survival loop. Older crabs eventually slow down as their metabolism shifts. Molting becomes less frequent during their final adult years. Their shells accumulate thick layers of mineral deposits over time. Barnacles and limpets sometimes attach to their aging carapaces. These epibionts add heavy weight to the elderly crustacean. Moving requires more energy than their aging bodies produce. They retreat to the cooler edges of the vent field. Predation eventually claims those too weak to defend themselves. Deep-sea octopuses easily capture the sluggish older individuals. Their organic matter returns to the complex vent food web. Nothing is wasted in this isolated deep ocean ecosystem. Nutrients recycle continuously through the thriving biological vent community. The life cycle of the vent crab is beautifully circular. From microscopic floating egg to heavily armored seafloor scavenger, their reproduction perfectly mirrors the volatile nature of vents. High fecundity balances the terrifying odds of larval survival. Every successful settlement represents a minor miracle of nature. The connection between physical geology and biology is profound. Magma beneath the crust directly powers their reproductive success. Chemical energy replaces sunlight in this dark alien nursery. Observing their life cycle reveals nature's incredible adaptable resilience. Extreme pressure cannot crush their fundamental biological drive forward. Toxic chemicals are repurposed into building blocks of life. The deep-sea vent crab thrives against all logic. Researchers continue to study their fascinating reproductive biological secrets. Larval tracking provides insights into deep ocean current patterns. Understanding their dispersal helps protect vulnerable deep-sea habitats. Deep-sea mining threatens these fragile reproductive migration pathways. Plumes of mining sediment could easily smother developing eggs. Conservation efforts require detailed knowledge of their entire life cycle. The silent drama of their existence unfolds endlessly below. Millions of zoea drift above the mid-ocean ridges tonight. Mother crabs fan their bright orange egg masses patiently. Males navigate the dark current searching for chemical signals. The rhythm of life pulses steadily in the abyss. It is a slow and deliberate biological deep dance. Each generation secures the future of this unique species. Hydrothermal vents will eventually cool and crumble into dust. New fissures will inevitably open elsewhere along the fault. The vent crabs will be there to colonize them. Their microscopic larvae will find the new chemical plumes. Life will take root again in the freezing dark. The cycle of deep-sea survival remains unbroken forever. Rest now as the vent crabs continue their journey. Sleep comes easily when contemplating these vast oceanic cycles. The deep water holds its secrets in quiet darkness. Fluid flows gently from the fractures in the earth. Heat radiates outward into the endless freezing abyssal plains. A new generation of crabs begins its silent ascent. They float upward through columns of warm mineral water. The moon pulls the ocean tides far above them. Deep sea currents sway with the ancient lunar rhythms. Time moves differently in this pressurized, lightless aquatic realm. Centuries pass while the mid-ocean ridges slowly spread. Crustal plates pull apart to create fresh volcanic habitats. Nature always provides a sanctuary for these resilient creatures. Their existence brings comfort to the wandering human mind. Life persists even in the most extreme isolated environments. Let your thoughts drift alongside the microscopic crustacean larvae. Sink deeper into the calming embrace of the sea. The hydrothermal vents hum a steady, soothing geological lullaby. Restful darkness envelops the entire underwater world completely now. Breathe slowly in harmony with the gentle, deep currents. Peaceful sleep awaits you at the bottom of everything. Let the deep ocean carry you into quiet dreams. Good night to the incredible creatures of the dark abyss. Vent crabs shape the biological landscape of the dark abyss. They act as crucial regulators in this extreme deep environment. Without them, the hydrothermal ecosystem would quickly become highly unstable. These crustaceans manage the dense populations of many smaller organisms. Pythogoride crabs move continuously across the towering black mineral chimneys. Their constant foraging prevents any single species from fully dominating. This behavior promotes high biodiversity around the active thermal vents. They balance the complex food web in absolute pitch darkness. Nutrient distribution relies heavily on their daily physical ocean movements. Their presence indicates a healthy and functioning deep marine habitat. Apex predators are rare in the deep hydrothermal vent systems. Vent crabs confidently fill this vital ecological top predator niche. They hunt small gastropods clinging to the warm basalt rocks. Their strong claws easily crush the shells of vent snails. This predation keeps the snail populations under strict natural control. Limpet numbers would explode without the crabs feeding on them. Overgrazing by limpets could destroy the delicate bacterial mat layers. Crabs ensure the bacterial mats remain intact for other creatures. They also consume weakened or dying animals near the fissures. This culling process strengthens the genetic pool of surviving prey. Scavenging is another essential duty performed by these deep crabs. Marine snow constantly falls from the sunlit surface zones above. Vent crabs eagerly consume this descending organic detritus upon arrival. They also clean up the remains of deceased vent organisms. A dead giant tube worm quickly attracts a swarm of crabs. Nothing is ever wasted in this resource-scarce benthic ecosystem. The crabs break down large organic matter into smaller particles. These tiny fragments then feed microscopic bacteria and small worms. Nutrients are efficiently recycled back into the local food chain. Their scavenging prevents decaying matter from polluting the vent water. Vent crabs share a complex relationship with giant tube worms. Riftia pachyptela forms dense crimson forests around the hydrothermal fluids. These towering worms provide physical shelter for the roaming crabs. Crabs carefully navigate through the thick clusters of white tubes. They often rest within the protective shadows of the worms. In return, Crabs groom the tube worms by eating parasitic organisms. They gently pluck small harmful worms from the tube worm surfaces. Sometimes, hungry crabs may nip at the red tube worm plumes. The worms quickly retract their delicate plumes to avoid injury. This interaction demonstrates a delicate balance of mutual deep survival. Bathymodialous mussels form massive beds near the cooler vent edges. These bivalves harbor symbiotic bacteria inside their specialized dark gills. Vent crabs frequently patrol these expansive mussel beds for food. They search for mussels that have been damaged or weakened. A healthy adult mussel can usually resist a crab attack. Their strong byssal threads anchor them firmly to the rocks. Crabs focus their energy on younger or detached vulnerable mussels. They use their specialized pincers to pry open the shells. This selective feeding prevents the mussel beds from becoming overcrowded. Space is a premium commodity around the life-giving vents. We can compare them to the famous furry yeti crabs. Kiwa hirsuta lives in the Pacific Antarctic ridge vent systems. Yeti crabs farm their own food on their hairy arms. They cultivate filamentous bacteria on their specialized pale lympseti. Pythogorid vent crabs lack these dense bacterial farming arm hairs. Instead, they actively hunt and scavenge across the rocky terrain. Yeti crabs remain relatively stationary near the warm fluid flows. Our vent crabs are highly mobile and constantly exploring outward. Both species have adapted perfectly to their specific vent niches. They showcase the incredible evolutionary diversity of deep ocean crustaceans. Rimicaris exoculator is a swarming blind shrimp near Atlantic vents. These shrimp gather in thousands around the black smoker chimneys. They host epibiotic bacteria inside their enlarged protective gill chambers. Vent crabs are solitary wanderers compared to these dense swarms. Shrimp rely entirely on their symbiotic bacteria for daily nourishment. Crabs maintain a much broader and more flexible carnivorous diet. The shrimp possess specialized light-sensing organs on their backs. Vent crabs rely more on chemical sensors and tactile feedback. Crabs often prey upon these blind shrimp when opportunities arise. Different survival strategies thrive together in the deep ocean darkness. The hydrothermal vent ecosystem exists in a state of flux. Chimneys can suddenly collapse under their own massive mineral weight. Fluid channels beneath the crust may abruptly change their course. When a vent dies, the local crab population must migrate. They journey across the freezing abyssal plain seeking new vents. Many crabs will perish during this long and dark migration. Those that survive bring new genetic diversity to distant habitats. This fragile balance has persisted for millions of silent years. However, new external threats now loom over these remote sanctuaries. Human activities are beginning to reach the absolute deepest ocean. Deep ocean mining represents a significant threat to vent crabs. Hydrothermal vents create massive seafloor sulfide deposits over long millennia. These deposits contain valuable copper, zinc, gold, and rare silver. Industrial companies want to harvest these rich deep mineral resources. Mining operations would involve lowering massive robotic cutting machines downward. These machines would physically destroy the towering black smoker chimneys. The unique habitat of the vent crab would be obliterated. Centuries of slow biological growth could vanish in mere hours. The destruction of these vents would cause localized extinction events. Vent crabs cannot simply swim away from such rapid devastation. Mining machines also generate massive plumes of thick toxic sediment. These dark clouds of debris spread far across the seafloor. The suspended particles can easily clog the gills of crabs. Sediment plumes bury the delicate bacterial mats that feed everyone. Heavy metals released during mining are highly toxic to life. Vent crabs accumulate these lethal metals in their internal tissues. Noise pollution from mining equipment disrupts their quiet deep world. Crabs rely on subtle vibrations to detect predators and prey. Deafening mechanical roars mask these crucial natural acoustic environmental signals. The stress of continuous industrial noise could severely reduce reproduction. Climate change also casts a long shadow over the abyss. The deep ocean slowly absorbs excess heat from the atmosphere. Rising bottom water temperatures can disrupt crab larval development stages. Ocean acidification is another pressing issue for deep marine life. Increased carbon dioxide lowers the natural pH of ocean water. More acidic water makes it harder for crabs to calcify. Their protective exoskeletons may become thinner and significantly more fragile. A weaker shell leaves them vulnerable to predators and pressure. Changes in surface currents affect the delivery of marine snow. This alters the baseline food supply for the entire ecosystem. Despite these threats, vent crabs offer immense value to science. They are living blueprints for extreme biological adaptation and survival. Studying their genetics reveals how life endures immense hydrostatic pressure. Their cellular membranes resist being crushed by the deep ocean. Scientists analyze the specific proteins that stabilize their internal structures. These discoveries help us understand the fundamental limits of life. Vent crabs thrive in water laden with toxic hydrogen sulfide. Their bodies efficiently process chemicals that would kill most animals. Understanding this detoxification could lead to new industrial chemical treatments. They hold secrets to resilience in the harshest global environments. The exoskeleton of the vent crab inspires advanced modern biomimicry. Their shells withstand both freezing cold and boiling thermal heat. Engineers study the microscopic layered structure of their tough chitin. This research guides the development of new pressure-resistant materials. Submersibles and deep ocean pipelines could benefit from these designs. Their specialized claws offer insights into efficient underwater mechanical tools. Robotic grippers are modeled after their precise and powerful pincers. The crab's sensory hairs inspire highly sensitive underwater tactile sensors. Nature has already solved many complex engineering problems down here. Vent crabs are tiny, armored masters of deep ocean engineering. Medical researchers are also deeply interested in these unique crabs. Vent crabs possess highly specialized enzymes in their digestive tracts. These enzymes function perfectly under extreme pressure and temperature variations. Such stable molecules are highly sought after for pharmaceutical applications. They could be used to manufacture new drugs more efficiently. The immune systems of vent crabs are also incredibly robust. They constantly fight off aggressive deep ocean viruses and bacteria. Isolating their antimicrobial compounds might yield novel human antibiotic treatments. The dark ocean holds a vast, untapped pharmacy of cures. Protecting these creatures means preserving future medical breakthroughs for humanity. Vent crabs also connect us to profound philosophical scientific questions. Hydrothermal vents are prime candidates for the origin of life. Alkaline vents provide the perfect chemical gradients for early metabolism. A billion years ago, similar vents existed on early Earth. The first simple cells likely emerged in these warm darknesses. Vent crabs represent the evolutionary pinnacle of this ancient ecosystem. They are complex animals thriving where life itself probably began. Watching them navigate a smoker is looking back through time. They remind us that life is resilient, adaptable, and persistent. The deep sea is a living museum of our origins. The existence of vent crabs fuels the field of astrobiology. If life thrives in our dark oceans, why not elsewhere? Moons like Europa and Enceladus harbor vast subsurface liquid oceans. Tidal heating likely creates hydrothermal vents on their alien seafloors. These distant vents could support complex biological communities right now. Vent crabs prove that solar energy is not strictly necessary. Chemosynthesis can support a vibrant and diverse extraterrestrial food web. When we search for life in space, we look here. The crabs are earthly analogues for potential alien ocean ecosystems. They expand our imagination of what is possible in space. The deep sea remains a realm of quiet, enduring wonder. It is a place untouched by the changing surface seasons. There are no storms, no winds, and no bright sunlight. Only the steady, rhythmic pulse of the geothermal heat remains. Vent crabs live their entire lives in this peaceful darkness. They do not know of the human world far above. Their existence is a testament to the beauty of adaptation. Every movement they make is a slow, deliberate underwater ballet. They are small guardians of a vast and hidden kingdom. We are incredibly fortunate to witness their silent, deep lives. As we conclude our journey, let the deep ocean soothe. Imagine the gentle warmth radiating from the tall mineral chimneys. Picture the vent crabs settling down into the rocky crevices. They tuck their claws closely against their smooth pale carapaces. The dark water flows slowly over their resting armored bodies. All is quiet in the abyssal depths of the sea. The pressures of the world above fade into nothingness here. You can leave your daily worries on the distant surface. Allow your mind to drift downward into the peaceful abyss. Embrace the absolute stillness of the deep benthic ocean floor. Your breathing slows to match the rhythm of the tides. Each exhale sinks you deeper into a state of relaxation. The darkness of the deep sea is soft and comforting. It wraps around you like a heavy, warm velvet blanket. There is nothing you need to do in this space. There is nowhere else you need to be right now. Just float alongside the resting creatures of the hydrothermal vents. Feel the weightless sensation of the deep ocean surrounding you. The vent crabs are sleeping safely in their thermal sanctuary. The tube worms sway gently in the slow, invisible water currents. The deep ocean will continue its ancient cycles without interruption. Life will persist in the quiet corners of our planet. You are part of this beautiful, interconnected web of existence. Let the mysteries of the abyss guide you into slumber. May your dreams be as calm as the abyssal plain. May your rest be as deep as the Mariana Trench. The vent crabs are resting peacefully in the eternal dark. It is time for you to find your own rest. Close your eyes and sink into the gentle, quiet night. Good night, dear listener, and sleep well in the deep blue.